Welcome to Networking RX, a podcast devoted to helping business professionals like you enhance your networking skills in order to become more proficient giving and receiving quality business referrals and improving the overall quality of your life and the lives of those around you. The Networking RX podcast is a production of AmSpirit Business Connections, an organization whose mission is to empower business success through networking.
As I've indicated from time to time on this podcast, one of my biggest fears in getting started was, would I have enough material? How long could this particular podcast go? And when you're just starting out, it is a real fear. You don't, I knew I had at least a dozen. Didn't know how much further I could go from there. Here I am in the 860s, and to be honest, I don't see an end in sight. And part of it is one, I've got it. Started interviewing people, and there's just, I don't want to say an endless supply of people to interview, but there's lots of people to interview, and I'll have people on. I've had people on. We'll have people on multiple times, doing lots of interesting things, wonderful insights. But the other thing is as you have a podcast and people listen to your podcast, people just suggest other topics or just share little things with you. One of the things I recently got, I want to talk about today, my brother sent me, my brother Mike. I only have one brother, Mike. He's 11 months older. What I had sent him something. I subscribe to various things, and I will send things to people based on what I think they're interested in. Sometimes it's, if it's related to my kids, I'll send it to my kids or to my wife or whatever. But this one happened to be related to siblings, and so my brother responded in kind with a text and an article. He subscribes to a Substacker, somebody who's got a Substack, Anti-Fragile ADHD. I don't know who the person is, but and I'm not a subscriber. This is my brother had shared this article with me, but I'll get a link in the show notes. I know I don't have large show notes, but I'll certainly get a link in there. But seven proven tactics to master active listening skills. Let me try that one more time. 7 proven tactics to master active listening skills. Screwed that up too, but anyhow, we're going to go with it. Interesting, right? It's just these are people have different insights, and there's no right or there's no wrong. People have different tactics. People call them different things. The first thing is the 7-second listening hack, and really what it comes down to is when somebody starts speaking, 7 seconds, give them your full undivided attention. And I know that sounds, oh yeah, sure, yeah, of course I always do. It's easier. It's more difficult than you think. Next time you're having a conversation with somebody, just see where your mind goes. You should be focusing on it. Be focusing on the other person. 7 seconds. It's a hard thing. Our minds start going elsewhere. Or when you're sitting in church, or something like that, just see. Or do this. Here's an exercise. Get on YouTube and start playing a video, right? Whatever interests you. And you'll see that your mind starts to wander. It starts to wander about different things that you need to do, different topics, responses to what's being said. It's really kind of hard to focus in. So you give somebody their your full undivided attention, not just what they're saying, but the tone, pauses, body language. Try to notice everything you can for that 7 seconds. It's not an easy thing to do. I think we all struggle with it. I know I struggle with it. But people notice. And if you can give them that 7 seconds, they're going to notice and they're going to appreciate it. Second tactic, and these can be used in conjunction with one another. I don't think this is linear, but spark the surely that can't be true effect, right? React with a warm disbelief. Really, wow. And I get it, not every conversation will lend itself to that. So this isn't going to work in every situation, but when you respond in this sort of way, people sort of feel they have an urge to correct or clarify. If you remember a couple of weeks ago, I talked about elicitation. We have these natural tendencies to fill in blanks, to clarify, to expand on something where somebody's interested. You know, and so if we, really, you really did that? You were really a skydiver? You were really in the military? I can't believe it. Look how long your hair is, Um, People are going to fill in the blanks after that. Well, yeah, I just decided when I got out of the military, I was in there for 10 years and was told how short my hair needed to be, and I just wanted to grow it long. All my uncles are bald, and I just figured, you know what, while I can, I'm going to have long hair. I'm just making something up, but that's just kind of hit them with sort of a disbelief. The third thing, which is kind of along the same lines, it sort of gets it back into elicitation. If you listen to a couple weeks ago, make a deliberate misstatement. Oh, so you were in the military 9 years? No, I was in 10, right? So, what it does is it says, okay, you're listening. You didn't quite get it right. But you were listening, and I appreciate it, and I'm going to clarify, and I'm going to go ahead and let you know that it was 10 years. Oh, you were in the Navy. No, I was in the Air Force, right? Oh, you were a tax accountant. You must have a law degree. No, I don't have a law degree, but I do have a CPA. So you want to just, you want to do it in a warm and curious way, and again, it makes people feel like, okay, this person is tuned into what I'm having to say. Now, again, not all these things. This isn't a 7-step process. These are 7 tactics, right? So they're not necessarily working linearly, and you got to do step 1, step 2, step 3. These are just things that you can do. 7 tactics to be more effective. Number 4, mirror and show empathy. And I've talked about this before. People I know who, when they talk to people, a guy I know, friend, we'll call him friend, Josh Gianni, he's an attorney. He's a member of one of chapters of AmSpirit. He talks about when he's meeting with clients, he sees how they are talking, and he will mirror that. If they're talking really fast and they're really excited, and he'll come back as well. If it's very measured and slow, then he'll mirror that as well. And that that demonstrates that you're not just hearing but understanding. It makes people feel seen. It's a way to create a connection. Okay, this person, we're on the same wavelength here. I can't control what other people are doing, but I can kind of mimic what they're doing, and I can be empathetic about the things they're saying. And that's a great tactic to demonstrate listening skills, and listening is important. Number 5, name the emotion out loud. Wow, that must have been super frustrating. Wow. Having people tell you how long your hair can be, I don't know that I could do that. That would be, frustrating, keeps coming to mind because I just said it, but that would grate on me. I don't know that I could do that. I don't know that I could be in the military that long. Or I don't know that, wow, it's, how could you be a tax accountant for all those years? I don't get it. I mean, I do my taxes once a year. That must be boring, or that must be exciting, or whatever. But it shows that you're listening, right? And you're thinking about what they're having to say. You're not talking, you're getting them talking. And by mentioning out loud, wow, that must have made you really angry, they're going to spur on. They're going to continue. Well, I wasn't really angry, or yeah, I really was angry. I couldn't believe how angry I was. I wanted to hit the person. So think about, as you're listening, and again, these all help you listen, think about, okay, what the emotion is there, and then go ahead and say it out loud, and that kind of prompts them to continue on. Number 6, use silence to invite depth. Now, this is not necessarily easy to do. You have to kind of know when and how to pick your moments, but if you can pause for 2 or 3 seconds after somebody has finished speaking, maybe just sit there, look at them, shake your head. I'm thinking about what you're having to say. Gives their words a chance to land. It often prompts them to go deeper, prompts them to continue on. A lot of people don't like that silence. Someone who's speaking, they don't like the silence necessarily, and they'll continue on. Again, this is about you listening and getting them to share. It's not about you thinking about, okay, here they've said this, now let me work in what I have to say. It's about continuing that, getting them to continue on and getting them to share with you. And finally, number 7, ask the retrospective question. And I'm quoting here, quote, after someone shares something meaningful, ask what the experience taught them. How did that shape you, or what did you take away that still influences you? Invites people to move beyond describing events to sharing personal growth, end quote. Again, you're inviting them to share more. It shows that you're listening, depending upon what that retrospective question is. Obviously, it's got to be something that's related, maybe related to the situation, related to what they're talking about. Can't be totally out of left field. But it invites them to continue to talk, and gives you the opportunity to continue to listen. So here's the end quote at the end of this particular article, and I will end on this. You don't need to be the most interesting person in the room, just the most interested.
Thanks for joining us on the Networking RX podcast. Please put what you've learned into action today and let us know if you have questions, comments, or ideas for future topics. You can email them to us at podcast@amspirit.com. That's AMSPIRIT.com. Finally, so you never miss an episode, be sure to subscribe to the Networking RX podcast through iTunes, Overcast, or however you receive your podcasts. Now get out and network with someone.
The Networking RX podcast is the copyright production of AmSpirit Business Connection. All rights reserved.